Today I will be talking about the structure and functions of proteins. As you may recall, proteins are organic compounds made up of amino acids, and proteins have numerous forms and functions. These include transport proteins, enzymes, antibodies, and many more, but we're going to get back to that later. Right now, we're going to be talking about protein structure. So, there are four levels of protein structure, and these are primary structure, secondary structure, tertiary structure, and quaternary structure. This is primary structure. So primary structure is basically just the chains of amino acids, and there are 20 amino acids. These all have the same basic structure, and they link together by forming polypeptide bonds, and this then becomes the primary level of protein structure. Here we have secondary structure, and secondary structure is formed by primary structure. And primary structure, so it's those chains of amino acids, right? And what happens is these amino acids, they link together and they form hydrogen bonds, which forms secondary structure. There are two main types of secondary structure, and these are alpha helices and beta pleated sheets. So alpha helices are the most common secondary structure. So what happens here is because of hydrogen bonds between the amino acids, the protein will curl, giving it that helix shape. The beta sheet, or the beta pleated sheet, is the type of secondary structure. Now, what happens here is multiple strands of the primary structure, or these chains of amino acids, are held together by hydrogen bonds, and this forms the beta pleated sheet. This is tertiary structure. So what happens here is that the alpha helices and the beta pleated sheets will bond together along the side chains of amino acids, and then this forms the tertiary structure. Finally, we have quaternary structure. Now, this is when the tertiary structure and groups of these proteins, they come together and form like one bigger group. So, the protein in this picture here is hemoglobin. And what happens is hemoglobin has four subunits, which are four tertiary structures that all came together to form this one big quaternary structure. So the question now is like, how did these all connect? So this is actually pretty cool and really interesting. What happens is even the smallest change in the primary structure of proteins can have a huge impact on the overall quaternary structure. And so take sickle cell anemia for a second. So this affects the hemoglobin and the red blood cells. And what happens is at the primary structure level, there's a really small change. And this creates almost like a domino effect where it goes all the way up through the quaternary structure, and this causes your blood cells to be sort of sickle shaped instead of the normal round blood cells, which causes them not to work as well. What I'm trying to get across through the example is that even one small structural change can have a huge impact on the function of a protein. And that's another really cool thing about proteins is that their structure is a huge determining factor in like what their function is. And so like even the tiniest change in their structure can still have a really large impact on their function.